In the heart of Louisiana, a story unfolds that weaves together ambition, betrayal, and tragedy. The lives of a small town sheriff and a young girl collide, leading to a shocking series of events that would change their community forever. This is the true story of a sheriff affair with a 17-year-old black girl that spiraled into one of the most grisly murders this town had ever seen. Before we dive into the details of this story, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell icon so that you get updated anytime we post a new video. With that said, let's get into it. In a quaint Louisiana town, life moved at a leisurely pace. The sun-drenched streets were lined with southern magnolias, their sweet fragrance wafting through the air. Residents exchanged pleasantries at the local diner. They laughed at mingling with the sounds of sizzling bacon and brewing coffee. But beneath this surface of normalcy lay a tension that would soon erupt into chaos. Meet Sheriff Daniel Parker, a well-respected figure in the community. Known for his firm yet fair approach to law enforcement, Daniel had built a reputation that many admired. But as with many tales of deceit, appearances can be deceiving. Daniel, a man in his late 30s with salt and pepper hair and a sturdy build, was a familiar face in town. He was often seen in his crisp uniform, but roaming the streets or stopping by the local shops. The townsfolk trusted him, believing he was there to protect them. Yet, behind closed doors, Daniel felt the weight of his responsibilities pressing down on him. His marriage to Laura, a devoted schoolteacher, was strained. They had two beautiful children, but the love that once flourished between them had dimmed over the years. Angela Mitchell, a vibrant 17-year-old black girl with dreams of becoming a singer. Angela was full of life, a spirit unbroken by the struggles she faced as a young black woman in a racially charged environment. She was a beacon of hope, but also a target for those who sought to exploit her innocence. Angela lived in a modest home with her single mother, who worked tirelessly to provide for them. Despite their challenges, Angela had a resilience that shone through. Her passion for music was palpable, and she often participated in local talent shows, hoping to one day make it big. Their paths crossed one fateful summer evening at a local fair. Angela was performing with her school choir, a voice echoing through the crowd. Daniel watched from a distance, captivated not just by her talent but by her youthful exuberance. Little did they know this chance encounter would set off a chain reaction of events that would lead to heartbreak and horror. As the summer faded into fall, Daniel and Angela's relationship deepened. What began as innocent conversations quickly morphed into clandestine meetings. In the dark corners of the town's parks, they found solace in each other. There laughed and mingling with the rustling leaves. But while started as a forbidden romance, certain turned into a web of lies and deceit. Daniel was torn between his duty as a sheriff and the intoxicating thrill of being with Angela. Daniel, feeling disconnected from his wife, found himself drawn to Angela's the varsity. She represented everything he felt he had lost. The joy of youth, the thrill of new beginnings. Their secret meetings became an escape for him, a way to forget the responsibilities that weighed heavily on his shoulders. As the weeks turned into months, their relationship grew more complicated. Daniel battled his conscience, torn between his role as a lawman and the undeniable attraction he felt for Angela. Despite knowing the ethical implications, Daniel convinced himself that his feelings were genuine. He believed he was providing Angela with the attention and validation she craved, while in reality, he was exploiting her youth and navy. As the leaves turned orange and the air grew crisp, Angela's life took a dramatic turn. One evening, after a particularly heated encounter with Daniel, she discovered she was pregnant. The news sent shockwaves through her life, shattering the illusion of their romantic escapee. Conflicted and scared, Angela turned to Daniel, hoping for support. She was a young girl facing an adult crisis, and her world was now in turmoil. In a tearful meeting, Angela revealed her pregnancy to Daniel. "What are we going to do?" she asked, a voice trembling. Daniel's heart raced as he realized the gravity of the situation. The thrill of their relationship was overshadowed by an impending disaster. Instead of embracing the responsibility of fatherhood, Daniel chose to silence Angela's voice, fearing the repercussions of his actions and the potential scandal that could ensue. Daniel's mind raced. He was a sheriff, a man of authority. How could he let this ruin his life? Instead of offering Angela reassurance, he suggested she consider her options, implying the termination might be the best course of action. Angela, feeding a band and spiraled into despair, she confided in her best friend, Sophia, who urged her to keep the baby and fight for her future. But Angela felt trapped, caught between her love for Daniel and the fear of losing everything she held dear. As the days passed, Daniel's paranoia grew. He knew Angela could expose him, and the consequences would be catastrophic. In a chilling turn of events, Daniel's love turned into a monstrous urge to control the situation. In a moment of desperation, Daniel began to devise a plan. He knew he had to eliminate the threat that Angela posed to his life and career. He began to withdraw from her, creating a rift that left Angela feeling increasingly isolated. In Louisiana, a chilling cold gripped the air as news of Angela's pregnancy spread like wildfire among her friends. Whispers turned to accusations as some began to suspect the identity of the father. Angela's demeanor changed. Oh, one sprite spirit dimmed under the weight of her secret. In a moment of desperation, Angela reached out to Laura, seeking comfort from the woman whom had unknowingly become her rival. The truth hung between them like an unspoken word. Laura was perceptive. She noticed the change in her husband and the tension that filled their home. While Daniel's busy spinning a web of lies, Laura sensed something was amiss. In an attempt to alleviate her unease, she invited Angela over for dinner, hoping to get a glimpse of the girl who had captivated her husband's attention. Angela arrived, nervous but determined to remain composed. She felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, and the gravity of her situation threatened to consume composed. She felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, and the gravity of her situation threatened to consume her. During dinner, Laura engaged Angela in conversation, trying to gauge the young girl's intentions. Angela spoke of her dreams, her music, and her aspirations, but there was an underlying tension that neither woman could ignore. As the evening progressed, Angela found herself glancing at Daniel, who was laughing and charming as usual. But behind that facade, Daniel was battling a storm of his own. Days turned into weeks, and the tension escalated. Angela's fear morphed into a desperate need for justice. She had become a pawn in a dangerous game, and the stakes were higher than she could have ever imagined. In a chilling turn of events, Daniel's paranoia reached a boiling point. He could not afford to let Angela's pregnancy be known, nor could he allow her to confront him about it. One fateful night, Angela made the decision to confront Daniel about their future. She was determined to tell him that she wanted to keep the baby, to fight for their love. But Daniel, in a fit of rage and desperation, made a choice that would seal both their fates. On a moonless night, Angela disappeared. Her mother reported her missing, sending ripples of fear through the community. The search began, and Daniel found himself walking a tightrope between his role as a loanman and his dark secret. As the investigation escalated, so did the pressure on Daniel. Friends and family rallied in search of Angela. Candlelight vigils were held, and posters bearing her smiling face adorned every lamppost. The town united in their efforts, but Daniel remained an enigma, struggling to maintain his composure amidst the growing suspicion. As the investigation deepened, detectives uncovered Daniel's connection to Angela. Whispers of suspicion began to circulate, and Daniel's world began to crumble. Detectives discovered Daniel had been the last person to see Angela alive. With mounting evidence against him, Daniel's facade began to crack. He became increasingly erratic, his behavior raising eyebrows among his colleagues. In a desperate attempt to cover his tracks, he resorted to unspeakable acts. He drove to the outskirts of town, where he thought no one would find them. The brutality of Angela's murder shocked the community. Her body was discovered in a secluded area, hidden beneath a pile of leaves. The autopsy revealed the harrowing truth. Angela had fought for her life, and the signs of struggle were evident. The revelation sent shockwaves through the town as the community grappled with the loss of a bright young girl. As the investigation unfolded, revelations came to light. Daniel was arrested, and the town was left reeling from the betrayal. Laura was shattered, a world torn apart by the man she thought she knew. The trial that followed captivated the nation. With the details of the affair emerging, the courtroom became a theater of raw emotion. Angela's family fought for justice, their grief of red herding the proceedings. Their prosecution painted a vivid picture of a man whom had let his lust and desperation drive him to commit an unthinkable act. The defense, on the other hand, tried to portray Daniel as a devoted family man caught in a moment of weakness. As the trial progressed, the evidence against Daniel mounted. Text messages exchanged between him and Angela revealed the depth of their relationship, painting a portrait of manipulation and deceit. The prosecution presented the timeline of events leading up to Angela's disappearance, meticulously detailing how Daniel's actions have led to the tragic outcome. On the stand, Angela's mother, Margaret, recounted the last time she saw her daughter. With tears streaming down her face, she described Angela as a bright, ambitious girl who wanted nothing more than to sing and make her family proud. The courtroom was silent, the weight of her words hanging heavily in the air. Margaret's emotional testimony resonated with the jurors and the public, fueling the outrage against Daniel. Meanwhile, Daniel sat stoically, his expression a mask of indifference, though inside he was battling a storm of regret and fear. His defense attorney argued that Angela had been a willing participant in their relationship, attempting to paint her as the seductress rather than the victim. But the jury remained unconvinced. The evidence was overwhelming, and the story that emerged from the courtroom was one of betrayal and tragedy. Daniel's manipulation of vulnerable teenager was laid bare for all to see. As the days turned into weeks, the trial drew national attention, sparking discussions about the power dynamics in relationships, particularly those involving minors. On the day the verdict was announced, the courtroom was packed with media, family, and community members, all waiting with bated breath. The jury deliberated for hours, and the tension in the room was palpable. Finally, the form was stood and read the verdict. Guilty of first-degree murder, gasps echoed throughout the courtroom, followed by a mix of applause and sobs. Angela's family embraced tears of relief and grief mingling as they realized they had finally achieved a semblance of justice for their beloved daughter. Daniel's expression shifted from stoked to shattered as the reality of his actions bore down on him. He was no longer the respected sheriff, but a convicted murderer. The sentencing phase of the trial soon followed, where the prosecution argued for the maximum punishment. Daniel's defense team attempted to portray him as a man who had succumbed to his flaws but was not inherently evil. They asked for leniency, citing the pressures of his job and the mental health struggles he faced. But the community was unforgiving. They had trusted him, believed in him as their protector, and now he had portrayed them in the most horrific way. Ultimately, the judge sentenced Daniel Parker to life in prison without the possibility of parole, ensuring that he would never again hold any position of power. As he was led away in handcuffs, Daniel's thoughts likely raced back to the moments he had spent with Anya, the moments that had led to a tragedy that would haunt him for the rest of his life. In the aftermath of the trial, the town of Louisiana struggled to heal. The community had been irrevocably changed, the trust that once existed shattered. Angela's memory lived on, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk in unexpected places. The annual talent show was renamed in her honor, ensuring that her voice would not be forgotten. Talent show was renamed in her honor, ensuring that her voice would not be forgotten. Margaret became an advocate for victims of violence, sharing Angela's story to raise awareness about the dangers of abusive relationships and the importance of safeguarding young people. Through her efforts, she sought to ensure that no other mother would have to endure the pain of losing a child in such a brutal manner. As the sun set over the small town, the shadows of betrayal lingered, a haunting reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers come from those we least expect. The story of Daniel Parker and Angela Mitchell serves as a cautionary tale, a testament to the fragility of trust and the consequences of betrayal. While justice was served, the scars left on the community would take much longer to heal. Thank you for joining us on this journey through a story of trust, betrayal, and the quest for justice. As we remember Angela Mitchell and the lessons her story teaches us, we invite you to share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. What are your perspectives on the responsibilities of those in power and the dynamics of relationships? We value your voice in this conversation. If you found this story compelling, please like and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of true crime cases. Share this video with others to raise awareness about the importance of safeguarding our young people and fostering vigilant communities. And let us know in the comments which cases you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.